someone's in there for therapy. Hey, what's up? What do you need? What brings you here?
It's kind of like I don't know, there's a lot of context to provide. It's about like me and my girlfriend. That's okay.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so I'm 29. My girlfriend's 27. We met whenever I was 21 and she was 19.
Okay.
We've had a really good pretty good relationship so far. We went through a break 2 years ago where it wasn't like a friends break where you don't really know if they're on a break or not, but we had like rules and everything like that, and it worked out well. We had this reoccurring theme in our relationship where it felt like I was being undervalued in the relationship. I didn't really feel equal. It felt like it was two-faced a lot of the times. Like when we were on our own, she was a much different person than like her friends and family. So that kind of got worked out. But then now we're at this like weird stage where it seems like she doesn't have a lot of motivation to want to, I guess, do stuff in her life, if that makes sense. Like she wants to, like, she's an artist and she wants to create things, but she doesn't want to put herself out there. And at the same time, like, I'm pretty much paying for all the bills. I'm trying to be supportive and allow her to have her creative freedom, but at the end of the day, like, she has to get going, and I don't know how really to navigate that because I don't want to be her parent, but at the same time, I don't want to be in the same situation that we're currently in 5 years from now, you know?
Okay. What do you mean by lacking motivation? Like, what is she doing currently with her life?
So she went to school. She got her bachelor's 2 years ago in graphic design.
Okay.
And she's currently an office manager / graphic designer for the Russian School of Math. Like, it's an after-school program for kids.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know they needed a designer for that.
Yeah, sometimes they put on like after-school specials for their students, and then she creates like the graphic design for that.
All right. And you're basically saying that that's not like enough money to contribute to a relationship, or what?
It's more so, it's not really like of course, like more money would be great if we want to get a house and like start, I guess, just having our own space. Like we really want to have like a farm and just have the acreage and live off the land, so to speak.
Surprisingly
kind of like what you talk about a lot.
Yeah. Really expensive to do that, but yeah.
Yeah. I like, for me, if it was just me, right, living on my own, I could do that in like 7-10 years. Depends on, of course, the state, but it's realistic. But then whenever you put both of us into that same equation, it becomes a little bit more difficult. Just in full transparency, I make 150K a year, and then I'm up for a promotion where I'll be probably making like 300K a year, and then she's currently making 55K a year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not so much the money aspect. When we first met, she had this wonderful goal of like, she wanted her own studio, she wanted to put her art out there. She didn't want to make a ton of money from her art, but she just wanted to be creating all the time. And now it feels like it's kind of like pulling teeth for her to create. And it's a two-way street, right? Like, it's on me too, but I feel like I do a really good job of, being proud whenever I do see her working on her artwork or creating that safe environment for her to work on art, but she just doesn't.
What kind of art did she like originally?
She's really into watercolor, so that's probably her media of choice right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not really a lot of jobs that let you do that kind of art.
Yeah, no, whenever we first met, she talked about how she wanted to have her own like art studio where she could just sell paintings and stuff like that. And I'm not gonna lie, like, as much as I could be biased, but she's really, really talented, like super talented. She just doesn't want to.
And I think she's afraid of rejection. You said she was like 21 when you met her?
She was 19. I was 21.
Oh, okay. You're the older one. Okay. Yeah, she's 19. Yeah. Well, that's a fantasy. It's not really a thing. People are hopeful and think it might be when they just like creating when they're young, but then as they get older, they realize that that's not really like a viable career. Like, people don't do that, especially with AI now. Like, no, like that's getting even less and less of a career.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that Chad's right. Her dream basically just fell victim to reality, like a lot of people's do. And now she's like, I don't really know what to do, because that was like probably all of her passion and her creativity growing up. And then when you find out it's not really worth anything, as far as monetary value or purpose in the world, you kind of get a little dejected.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's why I think she became complacent after like realizing like it's not viable.
So I guess like how do I be supportive and to help her find that new, I guess, dream through this reality that she's currently in?
This sounds like
how often
shitty,
wait,
but I don't think that you should really, because the only way you can support this is if you make all the money and she's basically unemployed. Like that's the only way you could emotionally support it for her to be able to do that and follow her creativity. Yeah. Like that's not a career. She has to be.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The whole dream about the farm and stuff, is that both of your dream or maybe just yours more a little bit?
Both of ours. It's one of the things that we bonded over whenever we first met.
Okay.
Like just living off the land, off the grid.
Have you ever like kind of, I don't know, tried to talk to her about, okay, so this is our plan, this is what we want to do, but in order for us to do that, maybe you need something more than just being where she is currently.
Yeah, definitely had those conversations, and so she graduated from the local university. I live in California about 2 years ago, and I work in HR. She was telling me how she wants to get a resume, her portfolio together to start applying to some of the tech jobs with graphic design. And it's been 2 years since then, and there's still not a resume or portfolio. That's one of the reoccurring, I guess, fights that we currently have, is that she's not producing just stuff for her own professionalism, and that's also hindering our relationship. It's like, okay, I see you on the couch scrolling through TikTok. You have all this free time. Meanwhile, I'm picking up a second job, or I'm trying to just sell things on the side just to make any type of extra money. Like we're young. I feel like I'm still having a lot of fun, and like I don't want to have kids. She doesn't want to have kids. So it's like we have this time to really, I don't know, build what we want financially, and it just seems like she's laxing through it.
Yeah, this sounds like somebody who's realized that what they want to do really is not a viable career at all. So they're trying to grasp at something that's still kind of creative in the direction. I feel like they haven't wasted most of their the prime of their life essentially doing nothing. They're trying to justify their passions and their time spent and skills acquired, but at the same time, because it's not really what she wants to do, she's also procrastinating, is what this sounds like.
Yeah.
How are the bills and chores split in the household? 50-50?
Yeah, so we just moved in together for the first time in our relationship because we're saving money at our parents' house, and her grandmother is ailing. But we just moved in February of this year, and in the first couple of months, I was doing the majority of everything. I was cooking, cleaning. We have bunnies, so I was taking care of the bunnies throughout the day. We had a conversation where I felt like I was doing the majority of the work, and now it does feel like it's 50-50 in certain instances. I don't know. It was kind of a weird situation there for a bit.
How would you say, how long has it been since it's been
50-50? Probably since May this year, June. I guess the real therapy.
50-50?
Sorry, what?
Is it still 50-50?
Yeah, it's still 50-50.
Okay.
But you said in certain instances, is it across the board, or is it just some 50-50?
I think it's just some 50-50. There's certain things that we both compromise on. Well, I guess her more than me. She doesn't want to clean the bathrooms and stuff like that, so I'll go ahead and do that for us, because I came from a weird household where my parents got divorced, and then my dad was lower income, but then my mom was upper middle class. So it's I saw both worlds of, being somewhat rich and then also being poor. And so I lived more with my dad being poor.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense for me. What was her parents like? Were they still together when you met her?
Yeah, they're still together, but they're not in a happy relationship. My biggest fear is that we turn into her parents.
Are her parents well off? Or what is the situation there?
Yeah, they're well off. It's kind of like the typical Silicon Valley story, not in the sense of tech, but they got there before Silicon Valley blew up. They have some homes around Silicon Valley, so they're whenever they do go to move, they could retire right now if they wanted to. They're in their early 60s, but they're doing quite well.
Yeah, it sounds like given her situation, it sounds like she's never really had to be the provider or live on her own or like be the adult. So you kind of like not that she sees you as her dad, but you basically filled that role in for them because you still help her be an adult essentially.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is like not her fault in particular, it's just kind of like that happens if that's your situation. But you had to grow up because you became like the man of the house earlier than 18.
Yeah.
So, and that's just like, it's just life. So.
Yeah, I feel like I'm at this weird crossroads, and part of the reason why I joined into here for the therapy session is understanding like I know that a relationship's a two-way street, but it's been 8 years of us being together, and when or is it even okay if like I step away from the relationship? Am I giving up on the relationship? Is a relationship meant to that when things get really tough, we stick through it, but if things just aren't changing, like how do you know when it's the okay time to step away?
What would you like to change though? Like what are you looking to change?
Just to see her create something. Like if she I feel like she hasn't even tried to create her artwork.
So you don't even want her to pursue a career, you just want her to be creative again for fun, or like what are you?
Yeah, just be creative and want to. She tells me all the time how she wants to sell her paintings, but like she doesn't create a website. She doesn't try to put like advertise her paintings or anything like that. Create an Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or anything like that. So I guess just like trying, just like actually attempting to do it. And what I brought up to her is like, she told me verbatim, if it wasn't for me, she wouldn't have gotten her bachelor's degree. She wouldn't have accomplished a lot of things in her life because I helped to be her role model. And then I was like, that's great and all, and I'm really appreciative of that, but like I also want to role model myself. And when is it okay for me to not feel like there's a burden where I have to be, I guess, perfect all the time, and I can actually learn from someone and be a role model and be like, wow, this person's doing really well in X area of their life. I want to take or embody that into my own life. And I haven't seen that from her.
Well, it's because she's still trying to make a career is the issue. Like she's never going to be able to create for the sake of it if she keeps trying to make money off of her art. Like you have to just like tell her, hey, don't worry about the career. Just stop trying to pursue tech. It doesn't seem like that much anyway. If she doesn't, I don't know, but it's like, I'll take care of you. If you really genuinely want her to create and not even pursue a career, just tell her that. Be like, you don't have to work. I'm financially secure enough. I just want to see you go back to the happy, person I met who was creative and passionate, and that's what attracted me to you. Like, I'll take care of everything else. Like that's what you'd have to do, because right now she's trying to make it a career, and that's the problem. That's why it's draining her motivation and energy. It's because she's learning that if she's trying to have a career, her art isn't valued essentially, so she doesn't feel the need to even try, especially with AI. It's like every time an artist is good now, they post it on social media, and people are like, is this real or is this AI?
But if you do that, there might be some resentment with the whole 50-50 thing. So you have to decide.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, someone can not have a job and still contribute 50-50 to like household chores and stuff,
You said the household chores is 50-50?
Yeah, like
yeah,
it could
right
still
now.
be 50-50.
Right now.
Even if just because she's not, working a job doesn't mean that other stuff isn't still shared.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the biggest thing too, is just I love the shit out of her, clearly, and I don't want to resent her. But I do feel like, I don't know what it is, but I'm a very goal-oriented person. Like, I completed my bachelor's degree in 3 years. I got my master's in technically 9 months. Like, I'm always trying to achieve or have some type of goal set. And it's hard for me to see someone not have a goal or not have something that they're striving for. Because I don't know, I guess the way that I view my life is I want to create something, not leave a legacy, but just move forward. But it seems like she's just okay with the status quo, which part of it I'm a little envious about, not gonna lie, to like stop and smell the roses. But at the same time, it's like, if we want to do these things that we talked about in our life, like how are we gonna do that together if you're not trying,
To my previous question, so how does she answer when you talk to her about, okay, this is our plan, how are we gonna get to this?
Yeah, she just kind of like, she just like shuts down, or then she says that, okay, can we revisit the conversation later? And it's not like
then
I'm
now
yelling
you're
at her,
conflicting. You've just described two different things that you want, and that's why she's shutting down. because she feels like it's pointless to talk to you about this. On one hand, you're like, how are we going to achieve our goals together if you aren't trying? And the other point, I wish you were just creative and wanted to and did the art that you like doing. Well, she can't make money and contribute to your future by doing that, so you have to pick.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, I would shut down too. I was like, fuck that. That's not even a conversation that, like, first, it sounds stressful emotionally, and it sounds stressful from, like, an artist standpoint.
Yeah, that's fair. So I just choose which one I go with. One of those.
If you want her to contribute financially to your future together, be doing something, you can't be like, pursue what you used to pursue and do it that way, because AI has taken over, like, the creative artist for the sake of creation. Like, now it's all corporate because they want to be able to talk to you directly instead of learning a computer, basically.
Yeah.
Like, so you have to choose. You want her to contribute financially, or do you want her to be creative and happy?
Is there any way that she could possibly do both? You know?
Not at a profitable scale, no. Not in the real world, unless she got lucky on TikTok and blew up or something, and people are like, oh my god, I'm gonna buy prints of your art. But like, that area is already saturated. I don't think there's any hope for anyone, to be honest, at this point. Everyone's already doubting artists with all the AI shit. It's like that. You had to start that a few years ago.
I appreciate the time, though. I appreciate the insights and the thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a difficult thing. That's why art school is so expensive, because the only people who can afford it typically are kids who are well off and don't have to worry about making money because they have their parents' money. Like, artists, that's why there's like patrons of the arts, because they need to be supported, because, you know, it's not really a profitable thing. It's more about who you know. Sadly. I wish it was. I liked doing art when I was young too.
If you go the do whatever you want, you know, I'll support you route, just remember, you chose that, and so if there's some kind of resentment popping up later on about the whole financial thing, you gotta remember, you told her to do that, you chose that, so you can't like put it back on her and like, well, you're not doing anything, you're not pursuing whatever.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. That's why they call them starving artists. That's why people like lose their creativity and passion for it, because they go the corporate route, like, you know, the graphic design shit, which is already oversaturated, and AI has just made it so easy, and websites like Squarespace and stuff have done like most of the graphic design work for you.
Does she have a backup other than art that she's passionate about?
Nah, not really. It's just art. She 100% doesn't like the corporate world too, which makes it even more difficult.
But yeah, unfortunately, like, if you are with a creative person like that and you want them to flourish creatively, you kind of have to be the breadwinner. And if they happen to make money from it, great. But you have to also be okay with them not making it, because that's the more likely outcome.
And don't hold it over their head.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
You can't like put their worth of themselves or their art into terms of money. It's more about like seeing the person happy, pursuing their creative passion.
But also at the same time, if she is, you know, going to be pursuing her stuff, she still has to help around the house.
Yeah.
I think probably at that point, probably more than 50%. More than 50%, because she's no longer working. You're going to be financially responsible. So.
Yeah, and that's also gonna be harder to do, because I was like this when I was younger too. I went directly from like my parents taking care of me to living with a partner, and it was really hard for me to get into the whole chore thing if my parents did that previously, because it's like I never had to manage my own house or my own bills, or like my own like I never had to like clean the whole house or like do everyone's laundry kind of things like that. If you've never had to take care of yourself in that situation, then that's really hard to learn later after living for years not doing that. A lot of kids kind of are forced to whenever they go to something like college and live on their own, like in a dorm or an apartment or whatever with roommates. Like, they kind of have to learn everything. But if you never have to learn it and you just go straight into like a long-term relationship, it's really difficult.
Yeah, like to your point, like she never lived outside of the house until, or outside of her parents' house until with me.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you might be like, why aren't you doing more? And she might not know what that means, because she does more than she did when she lived with her parents, but it may not be enough in your eyes for two adults in a relationship still.
Sure, but you can still teach her.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be patient with her. You can't resent her for that too, because she's, not how to do it. I never even learned how to do it. My solution was just making enough money to hire cleaners.
True. But also, with that being said, how long? What is the time frame for her like not teaching, learning? Because yes, you can teach them and stuff, but there's
it's
a
not so much learning so much as it is having the discipline to actually do it after not having to for so many years.
Right, and it doesn't have discipline. That's a problem.
Oh no, she does. She does. After we had the conversation earlier in the year, like we're on the same page 100% now.
I feel like if she's forcing herself to do a career she doesn't like, she has to have some kind of discipline. So.
Yeah.
Like that's what you can take out of the situation.
Sure. Yeah. I think my point is, I don't want her to be like, okay, you're supporting her, and then she ends up just being a leech. Not only that, but
yeah, I don't think she would be like that.
Not working and then not even contributing to the house.
Guilty. You gotta make more money. Well, it sounds like you actually have a good amount of money.
What do you mean you gotta make more money? You're the one making the money.
I know what you meant first.
Oh.
Before I had my streaming stuff.
Whoever like your people in that house, you are the reason they can afford to live there.
I mean, eventually it turned out that way. But I mean, at first, when I left my parents' house, moved in, I was, I wasn't contributing financially, and I didn't clean or anything. And I leave messes everywhere I go.
I know.
I'm a Tasmanian devil. It's what my dad. my dad tells people that when they come over.
The flies tell us all the time.
Every boy that he met, he made sure to warn them. Good time.
Let's say the point is, you can hire people to clean for you.
Thank you so much for the therapy. I really appreciate it.
Sorry, it was truths that aren't pleasant to hear, but it's still good to get other opinions on the situation.
Yeah, no, that's why like therapy is so important. And even though it's like you're not licensed therapist, but it's the same thing. Like that's what I came here for, just to be open-minded. Also understand that like I could be in the wrong too in certain aspects,
Well, I think
like,
the most wrong that I think that you would have committed here was the conflicting concepts of wanting her to follow her passion, but also contribute to your futures. Unfortunately, her passion is not something that can typically. So.
Fair.
But I mean, other than that, though, at least you have each other because a lot of people struggle financially and still don't have any emotional support. So.
Yeah.
And you sound like you have a good job at a young age.
You sound like you understand it.
Yeah, I definitely think so. All right, well, thank you so much. Have a great night, everyone. Appreciate it.
No problem. You too.
Good luck, man. GG.
Good luck.
Bye.
Good luck.